No need to put pants on. It's safe to say this has been a year of firsts, I think, for all of us. Not only the very first pants optional warming ways, but the first global pandemic in over a century. It's been a year of challenges and hardships for our nation in many other ways too. From the wildfires, both locally and out west, to a racial justice movement that is challenging the way many of us see justice in our country, to one of the most terrifying elections I ever hope to live through. And what I can say about Family Promise through all of this is that we are resilient. And I don't just mean our staff, although we have all been put to task in many new ways, but the families that we serve and you, our network as a whole. Back in March, when it dawned on us at Family Promise that COVID-19 was not going to go away, despite our best efforts to ignore it, I did what any millennial in my position would have done. I called my mom and I asked her for money so that we could support the 7 families that we had enrolled in our shelter program and move them into hotels to keep them safe from the spread of the virus. My mom replied in the way that any fiscally responsible human would and said, "Sure, we can probably help, but for how long?" To which I replied, I'm not an epidemiologist, but I am pretty smart. Probably no more than a few weeks or so. It's now been almost 8 months, and the pandemic rages on, as do those hotel bills, although I am happy to report that we did later receive funding for the rooms via the CARES Act, not to mention an incredible outpouring of financial support from our congregational partners. The resilience of Family Promise's network has been abundantly clear to me throughout this pandemic. I have always been moved by the tenacity, resourcefulness, and resilience of the families that we serve, and those strengths have only grown stronger throughout this devastating time. Here are just a few examples of what we've been up to this year. As our community received the stay-at-home order back in late March, Ariel, a mother of 3, was able to shelter in place along with the rest of us after finally moving out of shelter and into housing with a Section 8 voucher. Until the governor limited evictions back in May, we were utilizing donations from folks like yourself to help cover past due rent for families affected by the coronavirus via our prevention program. As protesters were demonstrating at the Capitol downtown, Grace, a single mother of 2 daughters who was unable to work due to COVID, was yelling with joy over the phone because we were going to be able to cover her first month's rent and deposit on a new place through our Rapid Resolution program. As wildfires destroyed precious land across the country, families like the Williams were receiving safe, comfortable, and free short-term housing in our master leased units through our Bridge program. These families were able to, in the words of the Williams, save money, think clearly, get housed, and receive support from Family Promise every step of the way. And as I was casting my ballot a few weeks ago, a mother of 4 with another on the way moved into permanent supportive housing after leaving an abusive relationship, getting sober, and staying in our shelter program 3 separate times. It is the strength of these families, along with the innovation and compassion of our incredible staff, and of course the unwavering support of our volunteer and donor base, that has allowed our families to make it this year, despite the odds. Our country may resemble a dumpster fire right now, but inside the walls of Family Promise, our focus has never wavered from ending homelessness forever, one family at a time. Tonight's event will look a little different, but I know that we will all adapt because that is what we do. First off, you'll hear an invocation from Temple Emmanuel's Rabbi Black. You'll also hear from our board president, Jessica Kroll, and our executive director, Courtney Jensen. You'll also be hearing from a couple of past guests who will share their stories with you. And at the end, we'll of course go into the paddle raiser. I hope you enjoy the evening.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rabbi Joe Black, the Senior Rabbi of Temple Emmanuel, Denver. We are proud to be a partner with Family Promise. We're proud to have been able to host the annual Warming Ways for Winter event fundraiser. This year, obviously, it's virtual, but we hope that next year, once again, we'll be able to host. And I wanted to offer an opening prayer. It's a piece of music I wrote many years ago. And when we think of the issue of homelessness, part of it is just looking to see the ugliness, the pain, the suffering that families just like you and me experience. There, but for the grace of God, go I, go all of us. Our task as people of faith, as people who care, is to see the holiness that is in front of us all the time and to support Family Promise. So this song is called The God in Me. Moses on a mountain saw a bush that was all aflame. Turned aside to look, then he heard God call his name. It wasn't till he took the time for turning he could see that bush was burning. And that was when he found his destiny. We all need to learn to turn around just so we can see the wonders that lie in our path. Oh, the God in you, the God in me. Huddled on a freeway ramp with a battered cardboard sign. She's hungry, scared, and homeless. She hasn't got a dime. With the drivers in their cloistered cars pretend that they don't see, too afraid to turn their heads and feel her misery. We all need to learn to take the time, turn around and see the ugliness that's in our path. Oh, the God in you, the God in me. Turn away, we turn within. Hate to lose, we have to win. But if you turn to see, oh, the God in you, the God in me. We're always in a hurry, can't afford to waste the time. Our heads are filled with worry, with every missed deadline. The rewards of all our labor, we believe, will set us free. Working is our passion, we can forsake our family. We all need to learn to take the time to turn around and see the loving that is in our lives. Oh, the God in you, the God in me. The God in you, God in me. The God in you and 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 me. The God in me. Support Family Promise.
first brought us to Family Promise was we were going through a lot of stuff. Me, my husband, and my son, we were homeless for almost 2 years. We actually became homeless when I was still pregnant with my son. We owed like a lot of landlords money. We had evictions on us. We were on probation. And our backgrounds, they're not the best of backgrounds. People make mistakes. But a lot of these other programs out here, they wouldn't accept us. We were going through all kinds of stuff. We were in and out of motels. We were going through Denver Human Services for vouchers at motels. And eventually that ran out because it only lasts for so long. And we were at the VOA Family Motel. And we heard about the Family Promise program through the caseworker there. And so we came down here, we had an intake, and we actually got accepted. Being accepted, that was like a world changer for us because nobody else would accept us. We went through all the process of getting into the program, finally got in the program. We only went through, I think, 3 weeks of going to the churches because then that's when coronavirus hit, and it hit pretty hard. But honestly, I like the way Family Promise took care of all the families during the lockdown and all that with the state. They put us in motels. The advocate that we're working with, which is Emily, she let us know everything's going to be fine, with the coronavirus and stuff like that. So that kind of eased my mind a little bit. And actually, Emily, she actually helped us out with a lot of stuff. She helped us with employment. She called so many apartments for us. Emily did a lot of stuff for the position that she has. She's excellent in it. We came into the program March 8th, and we just recently got out of the program 2 weeks ago. So we were in the program for 6-7 months almost. Family Promise, they let us stay in the program because they see that, we were trying. We found employment. We were looking for housing. And at the time, I was trying to put my son in daycare. But then when coronavirus happened, I was like, no, that's scary. So we went through a lot during Family Promise. And actually, on May 5th, my mom, she passed away from coronavirus. And Family Promise, they took real good care of me during them times. Going through the program, though, like I said, they helped us out a lot with a lot of situations. And actually, I love Family Promise for that, and I'm actually willing to volunteer at the Family Promise house that they have. I think that'd be a good experience. One of the memories I do have of Family Promise is when they put us in the hotels during the lockdown, they stopped bringing food to the families. So they offered to give everybody gift cards. And the first set of gift cards that we got, my family specifically, I think it was like a $500 gift card. And I cried, because I was just, I've never had nothing like that happen. And I was like, are you serious? That was a good memory for me right there. And like I said, for people that have barriers, like my family specifically, I think it's a good program to come to. You guys do a lot for families out there. Everybody has their own story. So we went through a lot of stuff. You guys helped us out. We actually got this apartment. Miss Emily, she hooked us up with a housing program through the Salvation Army. And once we got hooked up with that, a week later we were housed. So that was amazing. There is programs out there that will separate families. And that kind of puts it like a toll on people because then you're not together. You're not, basically you're not going through your struggle together. You're trying to strive basically by yourself. Because if I was in another program where it was just me and my son and my husband Chris would have to go to another part of the shelter, I don't really see that working. They're real nice too at the churches. The congregations, they help with a lot of stuff. Say for instance, one church, he needed milk. We had ran out of milk. And it was, I want to say 10 o'clock at night. And one of the volunteers that was there, she said, don't worry about it. I'll go to the store, get him his milk. And she went to the store at 10:30 at night to go get him his milk. And I was like, you don't have to. I said, here, drink water, he'll be fine. And I think that's one thing that stands out about Family Promise program is the congregations. When we came into the program, I was real skeptical about where life was going to be because actually I grew up being homeless. So I felt like I was going into the same lifestyle as I did growing up with my parents. And I was like, there has to be a change somewhere. Something has to give. So it did give me a different outlook, especially with Emily. I could call her right now and still talk to her about anything. She was like, my phone's always open. My door is always open. Whenever you need to talk, come talk. So I've talked to Emily about a lot of things. And she's given me a real good, different outlook on my future, especially with us being housed now. It gives you a different mindset on things. you feel like, you have a purpose in life now. Like you're not just homeless. Because being homeless, it really is a struggle. Like I said, everybody else, they have their own story. But it gets hard. It gets frustrating. You feel like giving up sometimes. And you just got to push through it, though. And that's what I learned through Family Promise, that there's more to life than what it was before. And you can succeed in things. You can achieve things that you want to achieve in life. So that's what I've learned from Family Promise.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our first virtual Warming Ways for Winter. My name is Jessica Kroll, and I'm the president of the Family Promise of Greater Denver Board of Directors. It's during times like these that I'm proud to be a part of this organization that helps families at risk of or experiencing homelessness. Being able to help provide shelter, meals, and supportive services through a variety of programs to families in need is what makes a lasting impact on our local communities. This could not be accomplished without the help and support of our amazing volunteers, our board, and most importantly, the dedicated staff of Family Promise. These individuals work very hard all year long, and we greatly appreciate all of their support. None of this could be done without all of you. Thank you. My favorite part about working with Family Promise is knowing that we make a difference in the lives of others by bringing a community of volunteers together to shelter families in need. We are built on community response and support, and it is truly inspiring to see an organization like this that never stops seeking to prevent and end homelessness. Family Promise endlessly seeks solutions, makes positive impacts, reaches more and more families, and develops new programs to help families in need. We have all seen firsthand what can happen when a family in our program is given the resources, the guidance, and encouragement to change their lives. It is truly an honor to help lead this organization and be part of real change in our community. For over 20 years now, Family Promise of Greater Denver has addressed some of the most challenging and relentless issues that our society faces: homelessness. And on top of that, we are now experiencing unprecedented times with the COVID pandemic. Each day bringing significant challenges and pressures on the operation of nonprofit organizations like ours, especially our staff. Yet they rise to those challenges every single day with resourcefulness, compassion, resilience, strength, and integrity, showing up to ensure that our services and programs continue even in times of crisis. It is times like these where our services are needed more than ever. Families will need our support now and into the future. As we all continue to navigate these difficult times of the COVID pandemic, it is important that we continue to display compassion and care for every member of our community, especially the families that are being served in our programs. While we are not able to physically come together, now is the time to show solidarity in the protection of our most vulnerable populations. Thank you all for believing in our mission and your continuing support of Family Promise of Greater Denver. I hope you all enjoy the virtual event this evening. Thank you.
My name is Jerry Apodaca. I am the family advocate for the home program here at Family Promise. What brought me to Family Promise is back in 2000, I relocated here from California with my 5 kids. and I had no job, no career, and ended up needing a place to live. And so I ended up going into the shelter. Back then it was called Interfaith Hospitality Network. It's now Family Promise, and we stayed in the program for 2 months until I could get on my feet, get a job, and get out there and just provide for my family. I guess what I enjoyed the most about my stay there back then was the support and help from not only the volunteers but also the staff. There was a guy who was a family advocate back then named Ken, and he was just very supportive and understanding and resourceful. And he, through the case management, helped me figure out what I wanted to do because I didn't have a career back then. And so I really knew that I wanted to do something like what he did. And so I ended up going back to school, got into social work, got my degree. And went on to have a career in social work. And I just feel like if it wasn't for him, I don't know where my life would have ended up or what career I would have went into, but I just felt like he was a part of why I went into social work because he was just so understanding and supportive. And I guess that brings me to why I support Family Promise is we work off a lot of volunteers and donations and support from the community, and so I feel like our agency is a little bit different because we're able to help families when other agencies aren't able to. So I feel like we don't have as strict guidelines because we're not 100% grant run, and so I feel like we really can help families that other agencies aren't able to help. And so I guess what I like about Family Promise is everybody's here is like a family, and so we're able to support each other and help each other, and our families feel welcome when they come and get the support from all of our staff and volunteers, and I just think it's a great place to work, and I'm just thankful I'm in this position where I'm able to give back to the community, and not only that, but help families that are homeless now and are going through some hard times. I feel like my experience of being homeless at one point, I'm able to come back and share my story and let them know this is just a part of your journey and you're not going to be in this place forever, but you will be able to get back on your feet, and 20 years from now you'll be like me and look back and look at not just the experience, but what you got out of it. And so I guess that's how I feel about Family Promise and what they've done for me.
Hi everyone, I'm Courtney Jensen, the Executive Director of Family Promise of Greater Denver. I became director in June of this year when Allie Card ended her tenure with Family Promise to move closer to family. I would like to start out with a few thank yous. Thank you to the fundraising committee who helped put together the first ever virtual Warming Ways for Winter. Thank you to each of you who have donated items to our silent auction. It's been so fun watching everyone bid over the past 2 weeks. I really hope you get some good prizes. And keep bidding away because we have until the end of this evening. And finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you who have purchased tickets and are attending from the comfort of your own home. Your support tonight will provide a home sweet home to the families we serve. Moving into this role in the middle of a pandemic was challenging to say the least. But with the support of our dedicated and resilient staff, volunteer, and donors, I was motivated and empowered to quickly adjust to our new normal. Just like pretty much everything else this year, this event is different. It's sad that we cannot be together in person, but I can feel the love and support in the air, as I always do when I'm surrounded by you all, our passionate volunteers and donors. As Mel mentioned earlier, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, we quickly shifted our shelter program and moved families into extended stay hotels. This was to keep both our families that we serve and volunteers safe and healthy. And on that note, I am proud to report that we have not had a single positive COVID test among any of our staff or clients since the pandemic hit. 2020 has reminded me to focus on the good, no matter how big or small. It's also provided me with a variety of feelings. feelings that I will guess many of you have also felt. Have you felt scared with the unpredictability of what tomorrow will bring? I know I have. How about a feeling of loss? I sure have. Well, while we continue to live in this world of uncertainty and unpredictability, there are a few things I am sure of. I know that the COVID-19 pandemic has hit low-income families in our community harder than any other population. Moms and dads that were working in the restaurant industry lost their jobs when quarantine went into effect. Parents have been unable to work when schools moved to virtual learning. Families who were already living on the edge were now left jobless and began to get behind on their rent. Past due rent and late charges began to add up, and more families were left without a safe place to call home. And to continue the unpredictability, we know that we have not fully felt the effects of the economic crisis that the COVID-19 pandemic has brought on. While all this was happening, we did not sit idly by. We moved quicker, we thought strategically, and we were creative with how to serve more families. More families, more moms, more dads, and kiddos that had no safe place to call home. Let me share some of the successes we've made because of your support. Through our prevention program, we have served 50 families. These 50 families have been able to remain housed. They remain housed and safe during this pandemic. This 50 families includes 110 children. This program is only possible from the support we receive from you all. And tonight you'll have the opportunity to provide more families with rental assistance, ensuring continued stability to vulnerable families in our community in the months to come. In March, we began sheltering families through master leased apartments. This new program is funded by the City and County of Denver and has allowed us to serve families in a new way. We have sheltered 11 families, including 22 children, in the Bridge Housing Program. In our case management programs, Community Case Management and Rapid Resolution, we have provided assistance to 113 families, including 237 children. That is just incredible. This assistance ranges from reunifying families, providing folks with gas cards to get to and from work, and cover the moving costs for families as they transition out of homelessness. While our shelter model has looked different this year, because of your support, we have sheltered 43 families, including 54 children. We were lucky enough to have been approached about an open 11-bedroom home in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. In August, we jumped on the opportunity to rent the house with very low rent to shelter an additional 4 families as we recognize the increase of calls of families searching for shelter. Your support has provided shelter, meals, and a spectrum of supportive services to the most vulnerable families in our community. We are currently sheltering 14 families between FP House and the extended stay motels. This is almost double the number of families we traditionally serve at any given time. Your support tonight will allow us to continue to shelter families that need it most. You have the ability to change a family's life by providing a gift tonight. A family like Teresa and Chris, whose story you heard just a few minutes ago. And lastly, our home program. This program supports families as they transition out of shelter and back into stable housing. We walk alongside them to ensure they have continued stabilization and never experience the trauma of homelessness again. 47 families, including 94 children, have received wraparound services to ensure continued success. Many of the families in our home program have been deeply impacted by the pandemic and economic crisis. Whether it's providing a gas card, grocery assistance, or tools around budgeting, we are there to support each family on their path to stability and growth. This work is hard, it is draining, it is exhausting. When you pick up the phone and have to tell a mom with 4 kids that her only option is to sleep outside because there are literally 0 options for her and her family, it is heartbreaking. But to be honest, it's what motivates us to do more. The sad reality of what low-income families are faced with is something we cannot solve alone. I would like to take a minute to acknowledge the staff that put their heart and soul into this work every day. To Robin, our new development manager who started the first week of October and jumped right in to make this event the success it is. Thank you. To Arlinda, our office and volunteer manager, thank you for always helping everyone in any way possible and making us a more efficient organization and always making us laugh. To our family advocates, Cami, you came in and made Bridge the success it is. Your hard work does not go unnoticed. Jerry, your heart and compassion creates an environment of love and support for every family you work with. It's truly incredible. Saray, your creativity in finding unique ways to support families is one of a kind. You're a true asset. Tanya, you're a natural leader. Your willingness to support both your families and your coworkers is beyond valuable. Emily, you're the OG rock star. Your ability to push yourself and do whatever it takes for the families you serve is one of a kind. And finally, our fearless director of programs, Mel. Your passion and leadership is the reason we are serving more families in new and creative ways. You are the backbone of our team, and I appreciate you more than words can say. While our team works tirelessly every day, we do not do this work alone. We do this together, with you all, and that is the only way we are successful. So I urge you tonight to think about that single mom who will be sleeping outside with her children, because behind her there are 10 more families in that same situation. I'm asking you to dig deep into your pockets and give a little more than you intended to, because our work is not ending. If anything, it's getting harder. This year has been full of unpredictability and loss. But tonight you can give. You can give to ensure safety and stability to a family in need. I want to thank you for your continued support and dedication to our mission. While our jobs may have gone harder this year, we know that with your support, we will continue to end homelessness forever, one family at a time. Thank you and have a great night.